The Huns emerged from the vast steppes of Central Asia as an unstoppable force that shook the foundations of Europe between the 4th and 5th centuries AD. Their appearance on the historical stage was not an isolated event, but rather the result of complex, migratory movements and environmental pressures that transformed the Eurasian landscape. This nomadic people, often associated with the ancient Xiongnu who harassed imperial China, developed a unique warrior culture, combining extreme mobility with psychological warfare tactics. Their impact on the decline of the Roman Empire and subsequent Germanic migrations positions them as one of the key factors in the transition from antiquity to the Middle Ages. The exact origin of the Huns remains a subject of academic debate. The most widely accepted theories link them to the Xiongnu tribes that dominated the Mongolian steppes several centuries before Christ. Chinese chronicles describe these peoples as consummate horsemen and masters of the composite bow, traits that would reappear in their supposed European descendants. What is clear is that by the 12th century AD, climate changes and conflicts with other nomadic groups initiated a westward migratory movement that would bring them to Europe's doorstep. This exodus was not an organized displacement, but rather a series of raids and temporary settlements culminating in their appearance at the borders of the Roman Empire. Hunnic society was structured around family clans united by personal loyalties rather than solid political institutions. Unlike sedentary empires, their organization responded to the needs of nomadic life with a warrior elite that accumulated prestige through military feats and redistribution of plunder. The figure of the leader, like the famous Attila, did not wield absolute power, but rather depended on his ability to keep the various tribal groups cohesive. Warrior assemblies made important decisions, showing a primitive form of military democracy, where consensus and personal reputation were fundamental. The Hunnic economy revolved around three main pillars: nomadic pastoralism, systematic plunder, and tribute collection. Their herds of horses, sheep, and cattle not only provided food, but represented the basis of their wealth and mobility. Trade, though limited, allowed them to exchange slaves and precious metals obtained in their raids for luxury goods with the Roman and Persian empires. However, it was their ability to extort sedentary societies through terror that truly fueled their might. Cities that refused to pay ransom faced total destruction, a tactic they perfected for maximum psychological impact. Daily life among the Huns unfolded in an environment marked by austerity and constant movement. Their dwellings, yurts built with wooden frames and felt coverings, could be dismantled and transported in hours. This lifestyle reflected perfect adaptation to the harsh steppe conditions, where resources were scarce and threats constant. Their clothing, primarily of fur and wool, incorporated decorative gold and silver elements among the warrior nobility, showing a social hierarchy based on military prestige. Their diet, rich in animal proteins and fermented dairy products like kumis, was designed to withstand climate rigors and long horseback journeys. In the spiritual realm, the Huns practiced a form of shamanism centered on worship of Tengri, the sky god who dominated their pantheon. Rituals included horse sacrifices and consultations with seers before battles or important decisions. This animistic religion, shared with other steppe peoples, blended with profound ancestor worship, particularly of deceased leaders whose spirits were believed to protect the tribe. The absence of writing among the Huns means much of their worldview reaches us through external, often hostile sources, making full understanding of their belief system difficult. The Hunnic art of war represented a true military revolution in its time. Their primary tactic consisted of lightning attacks executed by mounted archers who could shoot accurately at full gallop. The Hunnic composite bow, crafted with layers of wood, horn, and animal sinew, outperformed sedentary armies' weapons in range and power. They combined this skill with unmatched mobility, covering enormous distances in days thanks to reserves of spare horses. The terror they inspired formed an integral part of their strategy. Burned villages, public massacres, and mass crucifixions served to break enemy morale before actual combat. The figure of Attila, the most famous Hunnic leader, embodies both the zenith and twilight of this people. During his reign between 434 and 453 AD, he temporarily unified the Hunnic tribes and launched devastating campaigns against both Roman empires. His ability to exploit Rome's internal divisions and his aura as the Scourge of God enabled him to extract enormous gold tributes. However, his sudden death on his wedding night triggered succession struggles among his sons. The defeat at the Battle of Nadau, 454 AD, against a Germanic coalition, marked the definitive collapse of Hunnic power in Central Europe. The legacy of the Huns transcends their brief but intense historical prominence. Their pressure on Germanic tribes accelerated the migrations that ultimately disintegrated the Western Roman Empire. In medieval imagination, they remained symbols of chaos and destruction, an archetype that would resurface whenever Europe faced invasions from the east. Paradoxically, some groups like the medieval Bulgars likely incorporated Hunnic elements into their ethnogenesis, showing how nomadic peoples left their mark even in dissolution. Today, the Huns continue to fascinate as an example of how a seemingly marginal society could alter the course of civilization.